Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got the new one from Metallica today, or it's new when we released this video. 72 Seasons, the fourth single off their new album, I think called 72 Seasons as well. Pretty much taught half the album, even though the album's not out yet. So this is our fourth one. Why do bands do that these days? Why do they, I know it's not just a Metallica thing, it's just like every band, they release a single after single after single for like 6 months leading up to the album release. And by the time the album release, people just don't care anymore. So I don't know why it's so drawn out. So just release the thing already. But anyway, we're gonna take a look at their fourth single, 72 Seasons, in standard tuning as well. Got some fun riffs in this one, some challenging stuff, and it's a good one. So we're gonna get through it, whole thing. Solos, riffs, everything. Before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell. You can really kind of support these lessons and by watching them and commenting on them and sharing them with your buddies. And if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube, you know, I talk about it a lot, but it is the only thing that keeps these YouTube lessons coming is the fact that I have a guitar academy that allows me to not have a job outside of this. Yeah, releasing free YouTube lessons is not a way to make a living. So the Academy is how I do. So if you want to support anything I do online and get tons of cool guitar courses, personalized support from me and everything, click the link in the description. You're going to get a free 7-day trial of my Academy so you can try it out and make sure it's good for you. We've got a great community going over there. It contains all my courses from stuff for complete beginners to a lot of courses for more advanced players as well, including technique courses, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, you name it. And I'm live every single weekend with just Academy members, so please go check it out. It really helped me out. All right, so let's jump into this track. Like I said, I'm in standard tuning here. Fix my little tuner there. All right, so we have this long intro. It's over a couple of minutes long before any vocals really come in. And you kind of hear like really just kind of not as heavy as a tone as this, but there's a guitar. It almost sounds like a bass guitar, like when it's got a little distortion pedal and it's playing up in its higher octave. It's kind of a weird tone to it. But you can just do it on guitar, the low E string, with just kind of like a really kind of a dirty tone to it. You hear that kind of going in the background of the intro the whole time. And then you start hearing these chord hits come in over it. So you start hearing that come in. It does that like 4 times. So those chord hits are just a power chord here, a G power chord here, off the 3rd fret of the low E string. And then it's a D power chord with the 5th and the bass. So you'll play that by playing the 5th fret across the E and the A string, and then the 7th fret there on the D. So it kind of thickens it up. Sounds like he's going down in pitch. And then we're going to come up here to this E power chord. You're going to have the low E open in the bass, and then 7 on the A, 9 on the D and the G. So this. Then we have this little... So that's just the F power chord off the 1st fret of low E to the open E power chord. And then the power chord of the 1st fret, the F, 3, 1, back to the E power chord. So this, you can play like that if you want. So it's kind of all together. So we're doing that while we still have that kind of going on underneath it. So he does that 4 times. And then we hear this riff come that's a little bit different. It's really similar to, it's really kind of the chorus riff of the song. And it sounds like this. So this is, after you've done that riff hit 4 times, those chords hit 4 times, it kind of continues for like 9 beats of just, and then you hear this come in. All right, so that's a power chord, a G power chord at the 10th fret of the A string. the same power chord shape, 5th fret, and then to the 7th fret. So 10, 5, 7. Then over off the power chords off the low E, 6, 5, 3. So you can do that 3 times together. Now after the 3rd time, that basically the 3rd ending is longer. It's just like 6, 5, 3, and then again. And then the last one is 6, 5, 3, all the way down to the open E. So that kind of that ending, just that 3rd time through. All right, then we get to what I call the main riff of the track. Because it is, I guess. And that's what I played in the intro of the video, but it's that really kind of fast riff right there. All right, so now how is that played? You can see that played at the beginning of the video. It's so we're gonna play 5, 6 on the low E, and then 7 on the A. And then obviously rapid palm muted alternate picking on the low E string. So the way to kind of time this stuff out is when he's playing the notes themselves, the fingered notes, those are 8th notes. And then the everything else, all the hits on the low E string are 16th notes that are alternate picked. So play the notes that you're playing that you're actually fingering here on the fretboard. Play those with all downstrokes, and then all of the so that those little melodies are played with downstrokes. And if you do that, and then in between them you're doing the down up, the alternate picking, then the timing of the hand won't change. You'll still be kind of doing the same tempo. It'll feel like you're doing the same tempo, even though some notes are 8th and some are 16th. You're basically still playing everything as a 16th note, but I mean your hand's going down and up like it's playing a 16th note. You're just missing some of those upstrokes when you're playing those notes. So just the way you want to kind of think about it is just like 5, 6 on the low E, 7 on the A, into some 16th notes there with alternate picking. So, and then the next melody is going to be 5, 6 on the low E again, over to 5 on the A. So we have this. All right, and then we're going to go to the, so this is going to be 3, 5, 6, so that's just 3 downstrokes. So that part right there is a little bit different because you have to now start adding some the alternate picking in between the melody notes. So on the way up you don't, just 3, 5, 6. But then you have to get off that 6 and do the 16th notes with the alternate picking on the open E. Then you play the 5th fret there, and then back to the alternate picking. And then 3, 5 on the low E, and then a hit, an 8th note hit on the open E as well. Then you start over with the alternate picking. So we have this. So that when you get to that open string, make sure you let that ring for a full 8th note. So those notes aren't palm muted. And then you come down with the 16ths. So all together slowly. Repeat. Then you just kind of repeat the that ending is done twice the second time through. So kind of, you can hear it kind of up the tempo, it makes more sense. Repeat. And then at the very end, well, actually, you did it twice. Then it goes into like a really kind of like a more of a half-tone, kind of a groove version of the riff. It's much easier to play, and you can play with all downstrokes. So that, once again, that fast riff. So when it gets to that part, kind of lays back a little bit. It's the same melody notes though. But you're now playing the notes on the low E string with the same tempo that you're playing the melody notes. Everything else is the same. So right here, when you get to that part in this riff, when it goes, it comes down and hits a full E power chord, and then kind of breaks that line. Does that again, so we get this. And then leading into the verse here, we had this little ending. So that's just gonna be 3-5 there on the low E, but you're gonna jump up here now, grab power chords for this little ending. That power chord is 6th fret of the low E, 5, 3, 5, then open E. Let that ring. And then you hear some quick little harmonics. And that is just playing these harmonics at the 3rd fret off the low E string. So just lightly place your finger right above the 3rd. And then that takes us into the verse riff. The verse riff is played instrumentally a couple times first, and then he comes in, does those harmonics happen again, and then it comes back in with the same riff, but just with James' vocals over it. So this verse riff looks like this. So that's kind of like the instrumental version you kind of see of it. So now what is going on with this riff? It's kind of deceiving to the ear. The first time they play the riff, it's a full power chord that slides up. So, and then when they play it again, it's just a hammer-on from 5 to 7 on the A with that open E underneath it. And the rest of the riff is the same. So, unless my ears are deceiving me, which I don't think they are, so it's kind of, that's how basically 2 times through is the full riff. So we have the first time with full chord, and then that hammer. And that's 1 time through the verse. So, or the verse riff. So that is just kind of this power chord off this 5th fret of the A, slide up to 7. Then you hit some open E hits, palm muted. And then you're gonna do a power chord slide from on the 6th fret there, on the low E, 6 down to 5. Then the open E again. Remember, you're basically playing this, and in between the notes you're hitting low E hits. Kind of fill in the spaces, right? Don't want to overcomplicate it here. So we have this. So that's 6 to 5 slide, lift off with the open E, back to that 5th fret power chords, open E again, and then the 3rd fret, open E, 3rd fret, slide to 7. So we have this. And now the second time through, instead of this, like this, we have this hammer on. So you hit the open E, but you're just hammering 5 to 7 on the 8. So listen for that in the recording. You'll hear the first time through, you hear that top note go A to B, which is the note. And then the second time you won't hear that. And then when it repeats again, it does that once again. You hear that A to B up top, and then the second time you don't. So I have all together for the verse riff. Repeat. Now here, so he played that instrumentally like that, going into it, and then you hear the harmonic sing. And then the vocals finally come in over that same riff. All right, so we played that same verse riff for a while, and then we have this, which is similar once again to this riff that we did in the intro, which is really the chorus of the song, which is coming up. But here they use it as just kind of a transition riff to get to the pre-chorus, since the pre-chorus riff sounds quite a bit, has quite a bit different feel. So it's just really quickly you hear this. So you basically hear that kind of riff that we did in the intro. You just hear it once, so the 10, 5, 7 off the A string, then over to low E, 6, 5, 3, and then that takes us to the pre-chorus. So it's got a good groove to it. Looks like this. All right, so that's just gonna be, so it's a full power chord. Here's the open E power chord, F power chord, up to the F sharp power chord in the second fret, and then back down, 2, 1, 0. And then some eighth note kind of chugs there. Then you do it again. And you come up here and grab, now James might be just grabbing this G chord down here, but somebody's grabbing this, the octave of that up here, which is the 10th fret there of the A string, that power chord there. So. Then you continue the riff again. And then that was just basically, at the ending, that ending is, instead of going, you just kind of second fret power chord to the third fret. And then we get to the chorus. So the chorus looks like this. All right, so that's just kind of like we did in the intro, really. Except here, you kind of start doing the 16th notes at the end of the riff there. So on the low E 16ths. Just repeat. Kind of does that 4 times, and then it has that same ending. We had it where it's 6, 5, 3, 6, 5, 3, 6, 5, 3, 0. So we're just flying through that, I know, but we've seen that before. The only thing that's really different there is we had that thing thrown in there before the repeats. All right, so then we get to the main riff again. So that main riff kicks in, and then we have that kind of laid back version of the main riff, or kind of groove version of the main riff. That is what's going on underneath that first solo. So they go right out of the fast version of the main riff to that groove version of the main riff, and that's when Kirk does his solo, first solo over that. So let me play Kirk's first solo here. It's pretty quick, and get my wah tuned up. And so here we go. All right, so let me do that without the wah here. So we're gonna go. So that's gonna be here. Turn the delay off too. So we have this 7/8 on the D string. And you're gonna grab the double stops here, the 9th fret across the G and the B. And as you do that, just kind of pull them towards the floor. And then kind of do the same thing again. That 7/8 on the D, except now the double stops are the 7th fret on the G and the B. You can pull those as well. All right, and then he does this little melody on the D string. So when he does this melody, sometimes he catches the double stop between the set on the 7th fret there, across the D and the G. So it sounds like this. He goes 5, 7, 8 on the D, and then when he comes back down to 7, he catches that double stop there on the G string with it. And then 5, 7 on the D, over to 7 on the A string. So far away this. All right, and then we kind of do this again. Now, the difference here is just the very end. So he kind of repeats it the same way, except at the very end, instead of going, just holding that one note, the 7th fret on the A, he has the double stop there as well, across the A and the D. So that second time through. All right, and then he's done with the double stops here, up here at least. He just does this. So it's just kind of a melody from there, or just kind of that 5, 7, 8. You can grab this double stop again. 7, then 5, 7 on the D, over to 7 on the A. So the same thing we did before. And then to end it, 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7. Wait. That melody again, and then jump over here to the G string. Slide 7 and 9. All right, so that is the first solo out of the way there. And then it gets back to the same verse again, plays the verse again, that same transition riff after the verse into the same pre-chorus and the same chorus. So he's kind of repeating sections of the song we did before. And then they mix things up quite a bit. When we get to this bridge, things are a little bit different, changes keys. So I'll do this. All right, then it gets to the vocals come in there. So before the vocals come in, they'll cover what we did right here. So the timing of this is a bit strange. So what you want to do here is you're going to just play a strict 16th note. For 4 complete bars. And then in the 5th bar, on the 4th beat of that 5th bar, you're gonna do this. You're gonna put that in there. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that those little hits, you're still gonna do this, the 16ths in between them. So you gotta just with your roll over there and grab the 4th fret on the D and the G. There's the first double stop. And then the same thing, but on the 4th fret across the A and the D. and then the 6th fret on the A and the D. So it is. And then we're gonna have this little, first time you hear this ending, it's played with single notes. So that's just 5, 4, 5, 7, 5, 4. So we have this. And then we're gonna do the same riff again. Different ending. So now it's, instead of that single note version of it, it's with power chord. So that power chord is 5, 4, 5, 7, 5, 4. So then continue the same riff, a different ending this time as well. So that ending right there is just a power chord hit 3 times at the 5th fret. 1, 2, and then 1 to the 4th. So with so all together. And you're gonna do that ending twice. So, and then the 5th ending is gonna be that full power chord version of it. So so it's the same thing. The first half of it, first ending is single notes. Second ending is that whole bass line but done with power chords. And then the 3rd and 4th ending is just that. And then the 5th ending is the that full bass line played with power chords again. So all right, so then the vocals come in. Now when the vocals come in, the timing gets a little bit strange, and he continues this timing throughout when he's playing the rhythm guitar part underneath the second solo. So so we have basically this going on here underneath when the vocals come in. Oh, before I do that, there are some double stops that come in over that. Now, where these double stops are played, so that's when it's doing these hits. Whenever you hear those hits in that bridge section, there's those when I think Kirk is playing some double stops. Now, there are where he's playing this like anything. I mean, they have a video, but there's things everywhere and things aren't lining up or whatever. So until you see a live video of them playing this stuff, you can't really tell where they're playing everything. Generally, he plays things right. These kind of things you can play it here. I'll give you a couple options. Like I said, I do not know exactly where he's playing it, but the notes that he's playing is basically the 9th fret there on the G and the 10th on the B. Hit that 3 times, just one when you hear that A power chord. And then take it down 1 fret. Goes with that. And then he does that again when it does that again. And then that last one, he does it. Basically, he just takes it from the 9th fret, 8, 9, 11, 9, 8. It was basically, and then. Now, you can't play that here. So he could be doing it there, which is just the 14th across the D and the G. Down to 13 across the D and the G. And just kind of do that twice. And then that last one would be 14s, 13s, 14, 16, 14. Or he could be doing it here. Like I said, that's the nature of the guitars. Now that would, if you want to do this with them, it makes sense because you could grab that note, but that's just those same double stops across the B and the high E from 5 and 4 or 5, 4, 5, 7. So you can do it wherever. All right, so that's what's going on over that. So when the vocals come in though, it gets a little bit more strange timing wise. We basically, it looks like this. So what he's doing here is that, so if you want to think of it as the beats, when the hits come in on the beats. So we have, when it starts 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. On the fourth beat there in the measure is when you first hear that. So, and then it just kind of goes through every other beat with the other hits with that fourth. So that the same double stops we did before, just the timing a little. And then it goes a full 4 beats, and then we have this, that same ending, the power chord ending. Okay, so it kind of does that while he's doing his singing the vocals, and then it continues that. That's the beginning, basically, of the rhythm guitar part for the second solo. So we kind of lead with that riff a couple times, then he takes it down to E, then he takes it to F sharp. So let me play the rhythm guitar part now for Kirk's second solo. So here we go. All right, so not exactly, the riffs were in there. This is a new song to me too. So I believe I did all the repeats the number of times I'm supposed to there, but I might not have. But the riffs will be there. I don't know if yeah, whatever, how many times repeat. I'm just kind of trying to remember it myself as I go. So we're basically gonna play that same. That's kind of starting, so Kirk starts his solo in G sharp and G sharp minor, and then we go from there. They take it to E, and she goes all that stuff, and then he takes it to F sharp, and that's what Kirk's doing in his solo. So there's the different sections, the rhythm sections there we're covering. So now the timing of this, so you can always feel the beats, 1, 2, 3. So it's easy to know when to play the timing of that, but that first hit, when does it come in? It's gonna be on the fourth beat there. Now there's a little pause there. You'll see there's a quick pause at the very beginning before he goes into the actual solo. So there's a little quick, like 1 beat pause in the drums, and then they come in. And when you hear that first hit, it's gonna be the fourth beat of the measure, after Lars comes in. And then we have the full 4 beats after. And then we do that same little riff, and then the same thing again. But there's that drum pause that's in there, so it adds like an extra beat, so it feels more natural coming around the second time. And then we take the same basic riff, but we take it to E. So it's just the same, just kind of chugging on the open E string, and then instead of, it's just that same 10 fret power chord, 5 fret power chord, 7, and then the kind of saw that in the intro. Remember this 2, 3, that hit comes on 4, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And from there, we go to the F sharp riff. All right, so now that riff is could be played here. Like I said, no visual evidence of where he's actually playing it. So we do have a big slide into this riff, and the strings do sound a little bit fuller, like he's maybe playing down here. I know James likes playing here a lot, so we're gonna play it up here. But like I said, he could be doing it. But I think he's up here. So we're gonna start with this. So all the power chords here on the low E string. F sharp power chord on the 2nd fret, open E power chord, slide up to the C power chord here at the 8th fret, then 7, 5, 2. So now to start the riff over, he's got a quick, heavily palmed little chromatic. Open E power chord, F power chord on the 1st fret, and back up to the F sharp. So it's right here. And then you start over. So he does the whole thing 6 times. So after 6 times, basically we have this ending he does 5 times in a row. So he extends the ending. So it's going to basically do that. Instead of just 1 time, the 6th time through, you're going to do that, this part right here, 5 times. And then resolve it down to that F sharp power chord again. And then we hear these harmonics again. And that takes us to the verse. All right, so let me go through Kirk's solo for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it. Here we go. So let's take a look at that. So it's a lot of like Kirk Hammett signature licks in there and some wah and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna not use the wah obviously when I'm teaching this stuff. But we're gonna start here with this section. This one's a G sharp minor, this first section. Solo goes through 3 different keys. So we're gonna start here with this G sharp minor, just off of this same little, this kind of root shape here. So we're gonna start with these double stops, the 6th fret there on the G and the B. Kind of bend, pick those, bend them to the floor, quickly release, and then we go into this like, kind of a common blues like, so it's like a bend to the 6th fret there on the G, over to the 4th fret there on the B, and then pull off 7 to 4 on the B. And you just kind of repeat that. Well, actually, the first one is a bend. And from there, you're just going to play the same lick, but you're not going to do a bend on that note. You're just going to play the note. So, and from there, we're going to go to the... So that's kind of just rotating back and forth between this note here and the D string, the 6th fret, and then these double stops across the 4th fret of the G and the B. Kind of hitting each one twice. So hit that once and you're gonna kind of just rotate back and forth, and then go 4, 6 with the double stops at the kind of halfway through. Then we go back to this riff again. Yeah. There's a little kind of lick right there at the end. So you do. So that's basically the second ending, which is a 6 on the D, 4 on the G, 6 on the G, bend and release, and then pull off to 4. So. All right, then we go to E minor. And then it goes to F sharp minor. So this is another kind of a common lick. So you're gonna slide it up to the 15th fret there on the B string, and then so what he's doing here, he's gonna pick this 12th fret there on the high E, pull off, and then you're gonna pick the 17th fret, pull off to 12, back to 12, and then over to the 15 on the B. So really the only note that's kind of pulled off is that 17 to 12. So he repeats that a little bit. And then he starts doing the pull-offs, he doubles them. So you hear a couple of those in there towards the end. So he does do it straight first, and then he throws a couple of those doubles in. So you hear it like kind of... kind of start hearing him throwing them, but it's kind of just... mostly that lick. And then he does this. So that's going to be it's a quick little kind of 3 hits or so, 2 or 3 on the 12th fret there on the B string. Just for the first time you do it. And then you're going to go 14, 12 on the G, over to 14 on the D, back to 12 on the G, and do a whole set bend at the 14th fret on the G. And then he does kind of a similar melody. This kind of resolves into a different note. So without the little, kind of those notes hit 3 times at the beginning, it's just 12 on the B, then 14, 12 on the G, over to 14 on the D, back to 12 on the G, and then back to that 14. So we have both of them put together. Then we start that melody again, once again, without the 3 hits, just single hit on the 12th fret on the B. And then it's that basically ending. So it's that 12th fret on the B, 14, 12 on the G, over to 14 on the D, 12 on the G, and then into some bends. And then that last bend, you're gonna do a release and pull off to the 12th fret. So now he's skips to, we're in F sharp, we switch to F sharp minor. So when James Lane, when he's doing that riff, switches to F sharp minor, so he takes the same scale pattern again. Like he played the same scale pattern here. The 4th fret was in G sharp minor. Then when it was at E, he moved it to E, same pattern, and then the same pattern, he moved to the 2nd fret when it's got to F sharp minor. So he's hanging out in the same pattern really in the whole solo, but even if it's 3 different keys. So this one, yeah, it's kind of bluesy. It's kind of hard to get note for note because he's just kind of like digging in and stuff. But we do have some licks at the very, especially the beginning of it, you can pick up. So that's a bit of the 4th fret there on the G. Over to the 2nd fret on the B. And then pull off 5 to 2. And then after that pull off from 5 to 2 on the B, go 4 to 2 on the G, over to 4 on the D, and then back to that 2 on the G. And then we go to a series of bends at the 4th fret on the G string. And now, so after those bends, he releases that last one with kind of a slow bend, and he does a quick little trill. So 2, hammer on to 4, pull back off to 2 on the G, over to 4 on the D, back to 2 on the G. Then come over here to the 4th fret on the A, then 2, 4 on the D, and pick that note a few times. Here he kind of starts digging in, he kind of really heavily palming like 2 to 4 on the D and going to those double stops at the 2nd fret across the G and the B. So you kind of just dig in and do that a little bit. And he'll come up and grab the double stops at the 4th fret across the G and the B too. And then here he does this lick that he kind of ends this section of the solo with. Other kind of bluesy type stuff, which is just playing the 4th fret there on the G and the B. Pick that, do a bend and release with it, down to the 2nd fret double stops, and then over to 4 on the D, and then back to the 2nd fret double stops. So we have this. Then do that again. And he kind of ends it with just kind of just digging in between that 4th fret on the D and those double stops at the 2nd fret. So with this, and then we get to a melody. It looks like this. So this section has some harmony guitar lines that come in over it. I'm not going to cover those. We already have the rhythm guitar part going on and this main melody. I'm not going to cover all the harmonies because it adds up, and this video is long enough as it is. So I'm going to cover this main line that he's doing here, and then, you know, that's about it. So we're going to start here. Sorry. Now, once again, this is one of those things, no visual evidence of him playing this yet. So he could be playing it down here, but I don't know. But I'm going to play it here because Kirk, just knowing his style, he likes usually playing things on these strings, and when it's kind of these melodies like this, he kind of likes to move it over here. So anyway, let's just slide up to the 9th fret there on the A, over to 11 on the D, down to 7 on the D, then hammer 7 and 9, then over to 7 on the A string. So from there, that's now sliding to the 10th fret there on the D, 9, 7, and now slide 9 to 11 on the D. So we have this. Now it's kind of the same melody, different ending. Same. Except here, when we slide to the 10, 9, 7, you're going to resolve it there at the 9th fret there on the A string. So all together. Then repeat all that. Now the second time through, when you're doing that this last 10, 9, 7, you're going to basically repeat that 5 times. I think that was 5. Daydreaming over here. And then we have the end it at the 9th fret there on the A string. All right, and then from there we get back, we have those harmonics again. And then verse. And then that same transition riff comes in with a slight variation. So out of the verse, before we get to the pre-chorus, we have this riff that happens. It's the same riff, a little different ending. So it is. So basically, these 3 chords are the same. And then that 6, 5, 3 is repeated twice now instead of just played once going into the pre-chorus. So it just goes 6, 5, 3, 6, 5, 3. And then still they come up here and go play the 6 3 times. And then the 5th fret once. So, and then to that pre-chorus, which is really cool. All right, and then to the same chorus that we did before. All right, so after the last chorus, we get to this main riff again, which they go into it a little bit different than they did before. So they basically have just those 3 hits by themselves, and they don't do anything else. And then they do, and you can hear this, the second half of the melody, well, when it goes to the 5th fret on the A, you hear a very light da-da-da, so it's not like the full band playing still. So it's and then boom, they go into the riff again with full band. And then that same. Now here, we're gonna do this ending here, after you've done the riff a couple times, after that 3-5 on the low E string like normal, but we're gonna go that 5 times. And end it on the low E power chord. So it's just that 6, 5, 3 power chord done 3 times, 5 times, sorry. And then end it with a low E power chord. And then we hear this, you hear the kind of those slight little harmonics or hits again, and then you hear a big chord hit, which almost sounds like the Hendrix chord. But what I think is going on, because they've done this before too, is probably James or Kirk, one of them is hitting the low E string, 7th fret there on the A, 9 on the D, and 9 on the G, because you can hear all those notes in the chord and sliding down. You can hear that B sliding down, so that would work when you're doing that chord because you need that B in there, and that's in there. So I think we have one guy doing this and sliding that down, and the other grabbing the 12th fret across the D and the G. Can't remember, they've done this a couple times before where they put those 2 together. It creates that big sound of the Hendrix chord, but anyway. But without the 3rd, obviously. But we basically have that power chord and then these double stop, the 12th fret of the D and the G. Both sliding down. And we are done. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I think we've done half the album, and the album's not even out yet. Pretty cool. All right, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.